For the first time in its history, the International Criminal Court has opened confirmation of charges hearings without the suspect in the room. The man at the center of it all, Joseph Kony, the elusive leader of the brutal Lord's Resistance Army, remains a fugitive, nearly 2 decades after the court issued a warrant for his arrest. Now, in his absence, justice is inching forward. Today, in The Hague, Pre-Trial Chamber 3, led by presiding Judge Althea Violet Alexis Windsor, began the confirmation of charges hearing against Kony. Murder, torture, rape, enslavement, the conscription of children into war. These are among the 39 counts Kony faces for crimes committed between 2002 and 2005, crimes that devastated northern Uganda. Back home, in Gulu City, survivors gather in silence at Gulu Senior Secondary School. By 10:30 a.m., dozens have come to watch the live stream. Victims from villages once under siege by Kony's fighters. Maria Mabinti Kamala, the ICC outreach officer for Uganda, said that this hearing is about determining whether there is enough evidence to move the trial.
We need to remind ourselves that Joseph Kony is the alleged commander of the Lord's Resistance Army, and he's suspected of 39 counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in northern Uganda in specific locations, 8 of them from 1st July 2002 to 31st December 2005. Joseph Kony today will not be in the courtroom. The proceedings will happen in his absence because the judges have determined that under the Rome Statute, this is an exceptional circumstance for a confirmation of charges hearing to happen in the absence of the suspect. And to remember, it is not a trial. It is a preliminary proceeding for the judges to either confirm or decline the charges. More than 5,000 victims have submitted applications to participate in this process. The common legal representatives will be in the courtroom to present their views and their concerns to the judges, and then the defense will submit its opening statement. During the course of the day, both all the parties and the participants will submit oral argument on the merits of the case, the prosecution, the defense, and the lawyers for the victims. Tomorrow, similar activities will continue until the 3rd day, when the closing statement will be made by all the parties and participants, starting with the prosecution, the lawyers for the victims, and the defense team. So this is what we expect to happen over the next 3 days.
Kony is accused of orchestrating attacks on multiple IDP camps across northern Uganda, from Pajule to Lukodi, leaving death, destruction, and trauma in their wake. The confirmation hearing runs for 3 days, concluding September 11th. Prosecutors, victim lawyers, and defense counsel will all present closing arguments.
We understand that arrest warrants have been issued against Joseph Kony for close to 2 decades, and he is not in the custody of the court. Very many efforts have been made by the international community to secure his arrest, and that has not happened. But the Rome Statute provides that exceptionally a confirmation can happen in his absence. Having worked in this region on a personal note for many years, more than a decade myself, we have listened to the views of the victims, their interest in justice, their interest in the ICC proceedings. We followed the proceeding of Dominic Onwe many years ago, and once the prosecutor started this process, that confirmation could happen in the absence of the suspect, the community started expressing the interest. Even though Kony will not be in the courtroom, we would like to follow. We would like this process to make meaning to us by following the proceedings in the language that we would understand. And that's why the screening center has been created, one in Gulu here at the Gulu Secondary School, so that communities in Gulu, the epicenter of the northern Ugandan conflict, would have the opportunity to come to this courtroom in the school, a courtroom in this parish today in the school, to listen to the various arguments of the defense, the prosecution, and the lawyers for the victims, have the opportunity to interact and ask questions. This is part of our obligation as a court to make the proceedings public and accessible as much as possible. We're replicating these activities in Soroti, in Lira, and 29 other locations that are linked to the case and the charges of Joseph Kony. There we will have radio listening clubs, 5 community radio stations, including those in Gulu, in Teso, and in Lango sub-region, are also going to live broadcast the entirety of the proceedings. So if community members, victims, are not able to come to the centers, but they can sit in their homes and tune in.
Despite years of international and regional manhunts, Kony has managed to evade capture. But now, even in his absence, justice may finally be catching up.
This is part of making the proceedings accessible, meaningful, justice not only to be seen, but to be heard, and for the communities to feel it and to be part of the journey, having waited for 20 years for a proceeding to come alive in the case of Joseph Kony.
Joseph Kony may not be in the courtroom, but the voices of the victims are, and the world is watching. Story compiled by Julius Ochung for Uganda Radio Network, Northern Uganda.